Fresh is the word.
Juggalos! Whoop whoop! Welcome to the new episode of Fresh is the Word, episode number 11. I'm your host, K Fresh. I got an exciting show for you tonight. My first Juggalo themed episode. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a fucking Juggalo. I don't give a fuck. I love the Juggalos. I love ICP. I love Twisted. And guess who I got on the program today? I got Blaze Your Dead Homie. He has a new album coming out this Friday, The Casket Factory. So I was super excited to be able to shoot the shit with him, talk about the old days, how he got linked up with ICP and Twisted and Psychopathic Records. And now his new home with Twisted over on Majik Ninja Entertainment. So it was really super cool to talk with him. And on a sad note, I just learned today that the legendary icon of music, art, fashion, just everything creative, David Bowie passed away after a 18-month battle with cancer. He definitely was an inspiration to all us weirdos out there. And he was making creative stuff until his dying day. He just literally, a few days ago, on his 69th birthday, released a new album. So he was literally just living and breathing his art. Always inspire us, forever. He was just one of those dudes where you're like, he's different, but it's fucking cool. Just thank you to thank you, David Bowie. You are inspiration to all of us weirdos out there, and your legacy will always live long in the hearts of all of us. So let's get to the interview with Blaze Your Dead Homie. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, just to put it in perspective, I've been listening to stuff like ICP and House of Krazees and stuff since like 95.
Okay.
So I kind of go back to I was
I met Twisted in 93 myself.
Yeah,
so 93, 92, 93 is when I met House of Krazees, Twisted. Yeah, that's when I met them. So yes.
Yeah.
Long ass time ago, for real.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of when you're thinking about, during that time, kind of ICP was still, first coming out. That was the first few years. House of Krazees was starting out. Isham was his own thing in Detroit. Kind of when you're starting out meeting these people, kind of, what was that time like for you?
It was all brand new, fresh. I was as green as they come. They call that, when you're brand new in the business, they call that green. I don't know if it's just in wrestling, but in all types of different businesses, you're just green, you're just fresh and new, the grass is green and the trees are green, right. And that's what it was for me. I didn't know anything. I was with another ninja, and we started talking one day. I was working at a normal 9-to-5 job, and I'm always out there rapping in my headphones or rapping out in the parking lot. And this ninja was just like, hey, man, you do that a lot. Do you ever try doing your own shit? And it kind of started from there, and that's what it was. It's like, oh, yeah, I never did, so let's try, So we started messing around with it, and we were writing a lot. Denny's seemed to be our spot, and we would be there at night, 24 hours, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, and writing. And from there, we were trying to pattern what it was going to be, what we thought it should be. And we started coming up with names, and then we named our stuff, and then we'd start putting flyers together. And this is the weird part, because we would go out and flyer record stores before we even had one verse recorded, one piece, never been in the studio yet. And we had flyers made up, and, 2 Krazy Devils are coming. Oh, you're going to love them. They're the shit. And, yeah, all types of shit like that. But that's what it was. It was we didn't even start. We didn't know anything about making music yet. We knew about this is what we're writing, this is how we write, and that's about it, And we need to get in the studio sometime. And, yeah, I said, yeah. So we were completely green. I said, when I met House of Krazees, I was flyering a store, and they were flyering a store for a record they had coming out, Mine obviously wasn't even started yet. And, you know, when I talked to them, it was Jamie Madrox and ROC at the time, and they were flyering the same record store. And, you know, out in the parking lot, I ended up talking to them for a minute, and they were like, hey, man, what do you know, blah, say, blah, what are you doing? And, you know, I told them I was doing this, and what we were trying to do is get to a studio and make some real music. And, you know, guy gave me, you know, ROC gave me his number. Madrox gave me their numbers, like, hey, man, you need some studio time, hit us up. We got cheaper studio. We can get it a lot cheaper for what's going on, what you guys are going to do. So, you know, not knowing shit, we're like, all right, let's go check out the real studio and see what that costs. You know, we get in there, and I think it was like $500 rap demos ahead of time. It might as well have been like $3 billion to us. You know, we're like working 9 to 5 jobs. So I remember leaving that meeting with the real studio, walking outside and getting on a payphone, and that's how long ago it was. They had payphones with quarters, and it was 35 cents to call ROC. And I called him up, was like, hey, man, you still got that studio that same night? And he was like, yeah, come by tomorrow. Gave us a time, $35 an hour, and I think we recorded 2 songs before he told us, you know, you guys ain't got to pay me shit. Just come on over and do this shit. You know, you guys got heart in your music. Let's do this. You know, and he knew we were about it. So, yeah, that's kind of how it started, for real.
And that was the 2 Krazy Devils.
Yeah, 2 Krazy Devils. Like, yeah, that was it. Way back in the day.
Way back. And eventually, you'd kind of once Jamie and Paul, you know, came over to Psychopathic as Twisted, you know, kind of followed suit with them. What were you doing when you first came over there with them?
Well, I said at the time when they started doing music a little bit with. Basically, what happened was they put together a mixtape, you know, or something, you know, demo tape to show to Psychopathic at the time, and at that time I jumped on that. The 3 of us put together this mixtape, and when they pitched it what was going on. Well, the Psychopathic was like, we like it, we love it, but we know you two, we're gonna work with y'all. Bring your dude around, and we'll see if he's cool too, and we'll try to work with him. And I was the dude, so you know, it's like, hey. You know, so later on, it was kind of like, hey, you know, they wanted to get to know me a little bit. ICP has been out on tour with Twisted at this point, you know, before that, so they already knew these guys. They didn't really know me very well, so it seemed like it was kind of like a trial period. I'm getting to know everybody, and I'm kind of working behind the scenes, because it was, as soon as I started over there, they were kind of like, hey, man, you know, you don't need no real 9-to-5 job anymore. You got here, so. You know, drop what you're doing over there, come here, work here, and, you know, behind the scenes, and we'll hook you up and take care of you until we put your projects together, you know. And that's kind of what it was, you know. It's like, hey, I was doing anything and everything, like promoting. I was out on the road in the van, you know, promoting ICP's upcoming stuff, Twisted's upcoming stuff, you know, Outer Space tour. I was out there promoting that tour. The first thing I did was a Jekyll Brothers in-store tour. I was out there with them working on that, and then went out on the Jekyll Brothers tour and was backstage, you know, behind the scenes, backstage, clown, doing all types of stuff, you know, anything they asked. It's kind of it, you know. Worked at the office when I was at home and shipping out packages, so if you bought something back then, you might have got something shipped by me, like for real. Like I was kind of like running the warehouse with another guy for at least, it seemed like a year, maybe 2 years. So, you know, I was just working, like, for real, just trying to, you know, keep out of the scene. But I also had other engagements, like prior stuff, like probation shit that I was on, assault charges and shit that kept me, you know, back to, hey, you can't really go out of state right now. You can't do this, you know. So when the movie came around, I was stuck back in Michigan. They're filming in New York. I'm here, you know what I mean? So I missed out on a lot of stuff, too. Just going the wrong route, fucking around with the law. So, you know what I'm saying? You might want to make your own, you know, don't miss out on that shit by fucking with the law too much. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what it was for me.
Yeah, and during those early years too, you, before kind of coming to Psychopathic, you also were doing shows with Anybody Killer, before he was Anybody Killer, you know, back in the Crazy Clan days.
Oh, yeah. The first show we ever did, it was called. It was weird because me and my partner started off. We did 2 Krazy Devils. Through that, we started growing a little bit because it probably took a full year and a half, 2 years for us to put together a record because we didn't know anything, So we were putting this stuff together, and then through that process of putting that record together, we kind of felt like, oh man, this isn't really what we really like. So we kind of came up with new ideas, and we would change it up. Oh, let's do this, we changed the name to Sleepwalkers. And then the first show I ever did was under the banner Sleepwalkers, and it was me and my partner Scraps at the time, and then ABK was out there with us. But he was on the stage. He was just kind of holding up props with us and stuff. It was really, yeah. But yeah, I said I've known him for, ever since I probably maybe 2 weeks after I met House of Krazees and Twisted and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of like, it just always clicked. Like, hey, well, I knew we never had a problem with people that, did music around us. So, there's a lot of people that were always willing to do something or always doing something. So yeah, it was like natural to, bring him with me or us to do music together.
Right. Yeah, during that time there was this strong following that all these groups had, and before the whole sort of Juggalo thing happened, there was this really just vibrant thing when it came to House of Krazees, ICP, Esham, and whatnot.
There were so many different bands, man. A lot of them.
Like, from your perspective, like, how is that to be around, to just see these guys, really working hard at, what they're trying to do?
I mean, it was awesome. It was like, it was building something. And kind of like I said, it was, when we first started, I don't think we really, we didn't, I was so green that I didn't understand business, what it was like, how it's run. And, you're so much that you look at something, you hear what's on the radio, you're like Mary J. Blige is doing a song with Biggie or Method Man. That's the biggest thing going on right now. So you're like, oh, that's all I need is Mary J on a hit, and I'm going to be banging too. You're like, sure you are. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what it was but when you've seen other people from your respective areas and they're blowing it up and, they're just out there doing it and touring, where it really started kicking off for us and for everybody, really. It was like, once you realize that there were more people outside of Michigan and Ohio and Chicago that, that could actually understand what you're doing, that's where it started popping off, man, really. It's like, it needed that. It needed people to actually do it. And watching them do it, I was like, it could be done. You see people doing it around you, and they're your peers, and they're doing it, and they're popping, and it's like, yeah, that's the way I'm going to ride. You know what I mean? I want to ride that way as well, and that's kind of what it was.
Right. And when you first, got over to Psychopathic, and you're just, working all these odd jobs over there, what were some of the things that you kind of learned from everybody around you before you even started recording for them?
What not to do, you know what I mean? You watch, because it's easy being it's not easy being the guinea pig and watching, but I've watched, ICP, I've watched Twisted, I've watched them do multiple things. You learn what works and what doesn't work, and you try to, pattern your stuff and continue doing the things that work all the time as opposed to doing things that don't work. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I learned a lot of the intricacies of the business, what it is, the innards of what's happening. Like I said, I think I've worn a bunch of different hats now, within the music business itself, watching, so yeah, it's trying to learn basically what to do that is the correct path as opposed to trying to stumble across, a big rocky mountain full of shit. Pretty much,
Right. Once you started recording for that first EP, and then the One Less G in the Hood album, kind of like being around that environment, how did it kind of help you get this real project out?
Man, I'm telling you, my projects all came about by the power of the Juggalo, for real. It was like all word of mouth. They were talking so much because they had heard me on maybe 2 or 3 different tracks on Twisted projects or other stuff that was throughout the years. So it was just, it was mainly them. Hey, when's Blaze coming? When can we expect Blaze? When's his project coming out? We need something. And I distinctly remember it was close to, the time when I was doing it. It was this time of the year, Christmas time, right around now. We had maybe 2 weeks off around Christmas, and we went in the studio. I think it was me, Madrox, and Fritz, and then Monoxide would come in periodically, and the three of us would just knocked it out like that. It was like it was a Christmas break thing, and we knocked out the EP like that. And it was all due to, like I said, it was due to the Juggalos asking for it, because I don't know how long, I could have been sitting there another little while longer, but Alex, brought me in, was like, hey man, they really want to hear your shit, so we need you to put together something. And that's where it was. As soon as he gave me that, I was like, okay, let's do this. I'm ready to roll. So I was ready the whole time. It's just, waiting in line kind of for your time. You know what I mean?
Kind of talk about the work ethic that you've experienced working with all these guys.
Man, I'm telling you, everybody's got it. It's like, to us, it was more like a family thing. It was building something full. It's like it wasn't about, technically, I wasn't in it for, it's just about Blaze Your Dead Homie, and he's, I'm the man, I'm all everything. It was more about like what we were building fully as a label, as a family, and as everything that we had going on. And it's like I still feel that way in some aspects of what we're doing now. It's like I'm more interested in building up what we do, our scene, Juggalo scene, you know what I mean? Building it back to where it was, and then, making it bigger than it ever was, you know what I mean? Because I truly believe that there's Juggalos in everybody out there. They just don't know it yet.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? They'll have to hear, sometimes they might have to hear it, sometimes they might have to see it. So, we have to explore different avenues for them to see that, for them to understand. You know what I mean? We're all alike. We are. There's a piece that everybody's got that's the same as me, you and me. You know what I mean? They'll figure it out too, hopefully. And if they don't, fuck them. I mean, for real.
Right. And when you came into the fold, that was, still like the height of like the ICP Juggalo hatred in the media and whatnot. But at the same time, they had this very vibrant, dedicated fan base. What was your perspective on that time?
I mean, we owe it all to them. It's like I said, I remember going to this first tour I was on, and Juggle Brothers tour was so huge. I mean, we did Woodstock that year. We were in stadiums that were, I remember playing with a Minnesota Wild, or they used to be the Timberwolves, one of them, you know what I mean? The Minnesota's North Stars played. We were playing in that place, with Crazy Bone. It was huge. It was fucking humongous. And, you know what I mean? And that was kind of what it was. It was just building it to the masses, and you could see that it was acceptable. You know what I mean? You could see how times have changed, too. It's becoming more, you know what I mean? There's people will come out with a little bit of here. Lady Gaga can wear meat on her face, and nobody will say a fucking word, but they see paint on somebody's face. Oh, it must be the fake paint. There's always something. There's always something to being said. But as you can see, times have changed. People are accepting other things more often. Maybe they'll accept more of what we do too, and see what's really going on.
Definitely. And I've talked with Madrox and Monoxide, and even Jay and Shaggy, how over the years now, like that sort of hatred that the media had for all of this is kind of went away. Everybody's kind of chilled out, and it's been more accepting. And you're seeing
it's because we haven't pulled up any crazy, there hasn't been any bombs in the name of Juggalo anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, for real. It's like when you look at, come on. It's just as easy for them they find somebody new to hate, and that's what they have now. It's like, they found, it's religion. Now we're going to hate Muslims, or, you know what I mean? If you're Donald Trump, you're hating Mexicans. It's like, it's always something new for somebody else to, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what it is. It's like they passed that on, now they're to the next. You know what I mean?
And now you're actually getting like articles about you guys that are about the music. is actually
I
talking
mean, that's
about
kind of
the
what
music.
we've always looked for. You know what I mean? It's like,
They're
come
treating
on.
you exactly like musicians now, and it's like,
And that's kind of, you know, hey, we worked walked a long, tireless road and journey to get to that. You know, that's what it is. And that's really, and hopefully the people that come up after us won't have to go through that shit either. You know what I mean? They'll be like, they'll just go straight to the music, and either you like it or you don't. You know, review that much at least.
yeah. And I always thought this sort of hatred towards the fan base was always short-sighted. You know, I've always been front and center and seen it all, and just, you know, having this hatred for this fan base when they're actually one of the coolest fan bases on the planet.
For sure.
I
mean, I'd say probably, I'd be biased and say they're the coolest because I know they are. But, you know what I mean? Some people don't see that. I can't go and judge either because I don't go see a majority of other things that are going on now. Like, you know, huge, I don't know I've never been to a Lady Gaga show, so I can't tell you what a show looks like. You know what I mean? But I know people go. You know what I mean? So obviously it can't be that big of a problem.
Right. And what I love about the whole Juggalo fan base, too, is that, you know, you guys, Jamie, and Monoxide, and Jay and Shaggy, you know, everybody kind of, it isn't about, like, you know, we're the superstars and you're the fans. You guys actually want them to be good people. They
are. That's most of them. I want everybody to be that, and we do what we do, and we all, you know what I mean?
You almost put a responsibility on them to do something good with their lives.
For
and
sure.
Not be shitheads.
We said since day one, man, I'm waiting for the day to see them Juggalo lawyers, them, you know what I mean? I want to see that. I don't, you know, just because people talk shit about cops, you could still be a cop and be a Juggalo. I'm not, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, come on. I've actually had a guy come up to me who was a cop and said, man, what's up with that swine flu shit you was talking about? It's like, come on, man, you know who I'm talking about when I'm talking about swine flu. It ain't you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's bad apples in everything, just like there's bad apples in the police force. You know what I mean? It just happens. So, yeah, I said it's like, you know, you want them to better themselves because this is what Juggalo life is about. You know what I mean? We all have been looked at as, you know, in the bottom of the barrel, the piece of shit, the stepped on, the overlooked, people don't care. But we know that you have something in you that makes you you. And you know what I mean? And you shine like a light like anybody else does. And you know what I mean? And all it takes is one push for you to get that. And maybe, you know, one spark something inside you to, you know what I mean, better yourself. Be that next ninja. You know what I mean? For real. Be the right ninja. That's all. You know what I mean? And that's why when you see things happen where the guy, you know, he protects the person from being killed. He protects somebody. You don't think that that's what he's supposed to do, but genuinely that's always what he's known had in his mind to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because you don't see that doesn't mean that he don't know that, and we know that. And that's, you know what I mean? That's a difference.
Yeah, I've always felt that you can always find inspiration anywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you kind of judge a certain group of people off of ignorance,
it's racist.
It's
dude.
stupid.
It's just the same thing as anything else. It's like, come on, man. It's the same thing. It's like, you know, and it's what America, and it's not just America, it's the world and the nation, it's everything. They're all doomed to walk the same paths and roll in the same circles over and over. And if you can't tell just by looking at like fashion, for instance, you should be able to know just there. Just look at what the fashion looked like in the 70s with the tight-ass pants belling out to the top. Now take the bell bottoms and where are we at? We're back to the tight pants again, skinny as hell as you can. Now you ain't got bell bottoms. It's the same shit. It just runs around in circles, and people come back and they think it's something new. Watch, give it another 5-10 years, you'll see people tight rolling their pants again. You know what I mean? Because it'll be the 80s back in now. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. It's the same old bullshit. People keep rehashing the same bullshit, and they want to think it's brand new. It's like, you know what I mean? You're doomed to walk the same path. You're doomed to fail if you walk them all like that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it is. You know, if Nazism didn't work, then what makes you think that this is going to work? You know what I mean? If racism doesn't work and slavery doesn't work, why do you think it's going to work up here in this way? You know what I mean? And just people need something new to hate. You know?
Yeah. And it's like we all see, like, you know, the fans that come out to all your shows, and, you know, these kids definitely are full of joy when they come to these shows.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't want to cause any trouble. They just want, it's like,
no, we're having fun. We're having a good time. It's like you're able to be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Nowadays, people have taken that away from you. It's like, no, you got to conform to what they think is cool, what they think you should do, this. You know what I mean? It's always got to be that way. Who's to say that you can go and, you know, enjoy yourself on a normal day and then be back in school teaching kids the next day? That's, you know what I mean? You are a grown-ass adult. You should be able to go to a party, have a drink, post your pictures on Facebook, the next day not worry about people being like, I see my drunk teacher on Facebook. Well, get off her goddamn Facebook. What the fuck, man? How come, you know, put that shit on. Why do you got it out there like that? It's like, that's what the world's come to. They're so worried about just the smallest things that are, you know what I mean, that offend people. It's going to be so bad that you're going to have to worry about, you know, you can't say one thing, you're going to be offending people. And where's everything getting then? You know what I mean? Where are we going to be sitting at then?
right.
Worried about constitutions and shit.
And what I love also, which, you know, kind of is this connection between you guys and the fan base, is, you know, while for years, you know, always killing it on the merch game, but at the same time, you know, there's still, like, you know, a big part of your fan base that, you know, might not be able to afford all this shit all the time. But you guys have so much content out there to entertain every part of your fan base.
Well, that's it. It's like, man, not everybody can afford shit. You know, that everybody knows you go through things as well, like during personal shit, during your life. So, you know, ups and downs. And that's the same thing with anybody. The same thing happens to me as Blaze, as an artist or whatever, man. So, you know what I mean? I see myself in them, and I hope they see their self in me a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it is. And it's like, if I can't afford all the best shit either. You know what I mean? I'll be riding in some buckets. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the fuck I can afford. And we just do it. If you make the shit happen, you make it work. And that's all I give a fuck about, man. Just represent. That's it. You know, for real.
Right. How'd you come up with the whole Blaze Your Dead Homie concept?
I mean, Blaze was something I came directly to the label with. That was kind of our idea. It was Blaze the Butane Magician when I first came in. And through the course of, you know, being there at Psychopathic and, you know, kind of seeing how the things ran, it just switched up as we were going. I think we switched it for sure the day I did the track with ICP and Twisted, Hound Dogs, and Jay was like, man, you're dead, homie. You're dead, homie. And he was, he threw that at me, and I was like, you know what, you're right. And it stuck. Blaze Your Dead Homie, that's where it was. And bang, yep, ever since. On and popping.
When, kind of, you know, when you're doing stuff like that, have this concept like this, when it comes down to it, it's very theatrical. Mm-hmm. Like, where do your ideas in regards to things like that come from? Any movies, bands, TV shows, comic books, whatever?
It's a lot. I mean, when I first started with the stuff, the concept was mostly, you know, I'm a dead gangster. So a lot of it came from 80s, 90s era gangster, you know what I mean, gangster music, CMW, Compton's Most Wanted. Yeah. NWA, you know what I mean, DJ Quick, all that stuff, Spice One, like that style, that was my, you know, that's me right there, that envelope, Menace to Society, you know, movies, if you're looking, Boys in the Hood, it was like, that was kind of where it started, that was the ideas right there. So I pass away, I'm back at this point in my life, and this is, you know, you're going to hear me like this until, you know, now it's grown into its own thing where it's, you know, now I'm in every dimension as opposed to just one. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's just grown into its own entity and its own thing. But yeah, it's like I get them from all over the place. Video games, you know what I mean? A little bit of everything. That's why I try to explore all them things. Comic books, I mean, I'm a big reader. People don't know that about me. I read a lot of shit. I used to hate it when I was a kid, but now...
What type of stuff do you read?
I used to read comic books all the time, and then I got into that Walking Dead before it started becoming huge.
Yeah.
And, it's like Why the Last Man, Walking Dead. I like horror shit. I like a lot of Marvel shit.
Okay.
More, I get into the stories, like the big ones. I even I go back into DC into 52. I'll try to, if I see a story that looks like it's going a massive amount of time, I'll try to get that, because for some reason, obviously it's doing well, that I'll try to read it all. I went back, if I like a movie or a TV show that's really good, I'll go back and read the book to see if it's even any good, or if it, why they did it. Like Game of Thrones, I went back and read all that shit just to see, you know what I mean? Because I was watching a TV show, it was interesting. I was like, okay, I want to see, how much it's different. And, if I'm on a plane, some shit, bang, it's over with.
When I was interviewing Monoxide and Madrox, they were telling me about being on the road with Jay and Shaggy and all the kind of jokes they would play on them too. Do you remember any crazy stuff happening with you, those guys?
The only thing I can tell you, there was only a few things I remember for sure. The first time I was out, just and sharing the bus, because when I was out on the Jekyll Brothers tour, I was riding crew style, so I wasn't riding with any of the artists. I was always riding with the crew guys, but I would come out and hang out with the artists during the day when they get there. But I was usually working, so I'm in a job, working the job. So when I went back out with them for the first time, just touring, was Bizarre Bazaar. It was me and Killa. I think it was the second leg of the tour. First leg, they had somebody else. Second leg, it was me and Killa and Mars, who ended up being in Dark Lotus with us.
Yeah.
And it was ICP, and we're all on the bus together. So, I think Shaggy stayed in a bunk above me. I stayed in the bottom bunk. Across from him, Mars and his guy, Hype Man. And then behind us, I think, actually it's Mars, and then Killer was over here, and then a Hype Man was back, and then Jay was back, and then another one behind. So I remember at night we'd have to, I didn't bring headphones. I didn't know anything about buses really that much. So, I knew a little bit, but I was like, I'm not really, I'm not going to bring my own shit. I don't care that much to watch. I didn't know they had TVs and a motherfucker. So I get in the bunk, TV's in there, tell Joey, I'm like, man, I ain't got no headphones or nothing. He was like, well, don't worry, money. I'll leave my shit on, turn it up for you, have it hanging off. So I remember, Joey ended up going to sleep before I do, so he'd already passed out. And the thing's on, I'm watching, the movie or whatever the fuck it was. And the next thing I know, the sound just goes off. I'm like, what the fuck? So I look over, and it's Mars. Turn the fucking shit down. He's like, he didn't know that. He thought he was sleeping. He didn't know I was using it.
Right.
So he's like, I can't hear. I'm trying to sleep, buddy. He turned it down. I was like, what the fuck? So a couple nights later, I was asking him, like, man, I'm listening. He was like, oh, bro, I did not know that was you, straight up I was. So that was a nice little joke between me and Joey the rest of the tour. He'd always just laugh about it, like, hey, money, turn your shit now. So that was a good one. And then usually, like I said, we go out, and the first couple of days, like I said, Jay was back a little ways, and he had these old school videos of the coolest wrestling shit you could ever think of, like fucking Piper's Pit and all this dope ass Hogan shit, just cool shit, So, he's like, hey, let's watch these. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, so we can all watch them in our bunks. So we get down in our bunk, we're watching. He was like, man, this is bullshit. You guys are up there, everybody's gigging, laughing about the thing, talking about it. I can't hear you because I'm back here. So he drug his mattress out and put it in the middle. And he just laid down in the middle. It was like sitting there talking in between me and Killa and Shaggy and everybody while we're watching that shit. Yeah, I said, it was, we had some times. It was cool. He'd do some wild shit. He'd pull over the bus. I remember one time we pulled over the bus in the middle of nowhere, and just out of the blue, somebody came out the back room looking completely different, was like, my name's Junior, and I'm the bus company driver's son, and I don't want. And he doesn't like the way you're smoking weed on his bus, and all, it went off on us. So, yeah, you never know. Something could happen. It was just, it was wild times, man. He had some good times out there. They were unpredictable.
Definitely.
Is what it was, for real.
Speaking of wrestling, because part of this podcast too that I do is we talk about music and wrestling.
Hells yeah.
So I know you're a wrestling fan.
Old school, I was like a motherfucker.
You like the old school stuff?
Yeah, I fell out so far after these last couple of years. I fell off. I don't know why. I just kind of fell off wrestling. I need to start looking at it again because everybody tells me about check out Brian or William. Fucking know half these people's names, man. I'm off. I left for a minute. I don't know.
Well, these days there's a lot of good indie companies, all around, and that are just.
See, that's what's up.
And then you got everything going on New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. That's really ridiculous. And then you got the Lucha Underground.
Oh shit.
That they're doing in Cali on the El Rey network.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. The Lucha Underground is actually produced by the same. Mark Burnett that does all those reality shows. So it's really high, produced and stuff. But it has people Vampiro's host, announcer on there.
Shit.
Rey Mysterio's going to be on this season coming up. It's all this craziness, but there's a lot of good stuff going on. Even though when it comes to WWE, people are kind of about the quality of it right now, but they're starting to find their way back.
Right.
But there's a lot of really cool indie organizations right now, like PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, out in LA.
Okay.
That's something that's really lit.
Huh.
What was the kind of stuff that you were into, back in the day?
Man, I'm telling you, I loved wrestling growing up when I was a kid. I think the first thing I remember my pops, we were broke. We didn't have enough money to be ordering events and shit. So my cousins ended up having them all the time. So we go over to his house and check out shit like that. And then the one year my dad did get it. It was I think it was the year that Andre and it was a Silverdome year.
Oh yeah, WrestleMania 3.
Yep, 3. Yep. And that was so that was the years. And then I remember during that time I was so into it. It's that's when my pops would go out and, I'm renting you a video, and then he'd rent the Abdullah the Butchers and shit, and that's where I get into it real tough. And as it went on, I was into it all the way up past, the Stone Cold era, past The Rock, a little bit past this Randy Orton stuff, and then I kind of just fell off a little bit. I don't, it's different because when I came on, you held the belt for ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's you hold the belt for a week, and it's oh man, you're lucky, I guess.
They're kind of going back to the the long kind of title reigns.
I think
now, but
it just seems better because then you get more invested into a storyline that's gonna last longer, and that's kind of what it was. It's the storylines lasted okay. It was easier to pick up when somebody was, and for all of what Vince McMahon does as whatever he does now behind the scenes, when he was a commentator, was some of the coolest shit ever.
Oh, it was.
When he was commentating, he was so good at it because he made you feel it. And a lot of them guys did. Mean Gene Okerlund was like that, and even, Gorilla Monsoon. All them guys were so good that they made you,
they knew how to sell the story.
Yeah, it's JR does it. King's okay. He's getting there. It's some of them guys, and that's where I think they're losing, and I'm missing that. And I seen Michael, I forget his name.
Michael Cole?
Yeah, he's...
no.
That's it. Right. He's not... And that's the problem. It's it's the same thing can be said for sports. I love sports, but
it ain't the same as when
I don't
we were
like
growing
Joe
up.
Buck, dude. For some reason, he's one of my least favorite announcers and casters, and it's just because everything's the same,
When we were growing up, say for baseball, you had Ernie Harwell on the radio, and you had George Kelly K-Line on TV. That was the greatest.
We had it, and I said, now for basketball, you got Blaha, he's still there, and one of the most underrated is Mark Champion. That guy's great. He's really good, and I liked him for when he did the Pistons on the radio sometimes, and when he did football games, And we had Dave Strader and Mickey Redmond.
Yeah.
Fucking hot, man. We had great sportscasters. It was the shit. Ray Lane. We had some shit. It was cool. Yeah, it's just, I think that's what they're missing, though, a little bit. You know, you draw people in and you tell a story, and that's kind of what that was. It's like, wrestling's always been kind of like a big, you know, it's a storyline driven market, which is cool, but they haven't been good lately, I think. You know, it's like, it's trying to bring them back to.
Yeah, and I think and definitely a big part of it has been, along with just kind of like the lack of depth of the storylines, has been the announcing to kind of lead it, you know?
Right, yeah.
But the thing is, in WWE, they're actually bringing SmackDown back to USA Network.
Nice.
And they hired Mauro Ranallo. He used to be a announcer for like UFC.
Okay.
And he's recently been doing the announcing for the New Japan Pro Wrestling show that airs on Access.
Nice. That's what's up.
This guy is amazing, and it's probably been one of the best acquisitions that WWE has done in years.
That's what they need. They need something like that because it drives everything. You know what I mean? It's like, that's one of the things that I realized going to see wrestling events in person as opposed to being at home.
Yeah.
At home, it was so much cooler because you could see everything going on. When you're there and you don't hear JR talking when you're out there and the things happening, you don't know what you're missing in the storyline of when, he called him, but he did call him that last week. He called him a no-good mopping son of a bitch janitor just last week, JR. And it's, you know what I mean? It's like, and, you know, it's part of what is driving why this guy is doing what he's doing in the ring. You know, it's...
Yeah, unless you have like a really close seat and can be kind of like in
you
the
can't
action.
right. As I said, you can't tell, and that's what I think they're missing at wrestling. I don't know how they do it, how they could do it to make it sound cool.
And and then in the whole WWE thing, there's another guy. He used to be a wrestler, but he doesn't wrestle anymore because of too many concussions. Corey Graves.
Okay.
He actually is like, he hosts a bunch of shows on the WWE network, but he also does the NXT commentary. That guy will eventually be like one of the main announcers because he is so good at being like the heel announcer.
Yeah.
And even...
But that's what you need.
Yeah, and even...
Bobby the... Come on.
Yeah,
and even... You had him, you had fucking Jesse the Body.
Jesse the Body
he was so good. It's like every single time he called him Chico Santana, you're like, oh my God, dude. Are you serious? His name's Tito. You're like, no. You know what I mean? Like, for real. And Gorilla would be that's ridiculous. That's just crazy.
Those are so like...
It's great.
Those are great
I feel
times.
bad for people missing that and never being able to see that shit. Like wrestling fans now not being able to see what, you know, good announcing is and what it is, and that's what it is. So hopefully they bring it back.
Yeah, and the thing is with the WWE network, people who subscribe to that can actually kind of go back and see stuff like that more than ever. But for the new stuff, like I just wish the announcing was so much better. Like the old days. I think
they'll get there.
Yeah, I think they're starting to get there, but they put so much crap on these announcers, like overly script them, and they have to slide in the social media things.
That's probably what it is.
And there's so much stuff outside of the actual calling of the matches that has to be thrown into the mix that it's like way too much.
That's ridiculous.
Did you ever go to any of like the wrestling events that ICP was a part of?
I've never went to the ones I went. Let me see. Strike and reverse. Twisted went with them a few times. I have never went to the events except for when we did the promoting. We were promoting one tour and they were out in WCW.
Yeah.
And they would do the events and we would just be outside promoting. So I never went inside for that. We would go out and just a couple of us would go out and just get signs on TV going different ones. Like I've been to a few like that, Raws, and a couple of different ones like that with a few of the guys just going out. We got tickets for you. Third row, you're over there on the camera side, hard camera. So, okay, we'll be out there with the ICP or the Jungle Brothers side or something. You'll see us. But, yeah, that was it, yeah. Other than that, no, I never was with them like that for any of those.
Yeah, even to this day, you still see the Hatchet Man out in the crowd.
They'll pop up there every now and then. Yeah, people go out there. It's cool. That's cool, man. I'm not mad. It's like they were a big part for a while. They actually was running it for a second there.
Right. Who are some of your favorite wrestlers? You know, when you were really little?
JYD, like Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, like fuck yeah, like there were a lot of cool people. Like I remember the original Rock, not Rocky Maivia, but you know what I mean, the Rock Don Morocco. That's who I remember, the Rock. You know, and yeah, like there was a lot of cool people back then. I grew up in the time when there was, you know, rock and wrestling was that thing, and the cartoon was going on. It was huge. So it's like, it's like anybody on that era, like Tito, Santana, all them guys were just like, they were the shit. I don't, Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
I liked all that shit, man. Yeah, that's kind of my era.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I definitely during the whole Hogan, Coco Beware, Bridge Bulldog.
Come on, fuck yeah.
But then, like, I kind of, went away for a little while. But then it was like when the Monday Night Wars happened, the NWO.
Yeah, you start seeing the shit again. You're like, okay,
that was like
it blows up.
That got me back into it for.
See,
for
that's
a while.
the same. You're the same way I was, and that's exactly what I did. I went away, came back for that little bit of time. I was there for a while until, like I said, probably a little after Rockin' them. Maybe a little after, like I said, even Randy, I would still check in on it periodically to see what was going on. I did kind of the same thing, And then, then I kind of, like, fell off again. And, I remember The Miz was still huge. Like, you know what I mean? He was kind of, last I looked, he was kind of dying out. And
he's still around, kind of,
Yeah, he's still in there, but...
He's someone who could be actually a really good announcer.
Well, I thought him and Cena... When they first came out, I thought it was such a joke. When they were doing, you know what I mean? When they did that show and everything, I was like, come on, this is such a fucking joke. Like, because when you see the wrestlers, they pull them out of nowhere or they just create some guy out of some other character he's been doing for a while, and now he's huge, and you're just like, I never seen this guy before. And technically, he was, Dwight Yankum 5-7 years ago, and now he's Kane. And you're like, oh my God, this is fucking great.
Yeah, you've seen this guy a bunch of times.
Right, but you don't, but that's what it is. That's kind of wrestling. It's like they can change and, create this new character, and you're like, oh, hell yeah, and it's awesome. And that's what brings and sucks you back in. And if they can keep doing that, that's what's good. I think, I hated, I thought that idea with Miz and Cena was so bad. Then seeing it actually work, I'm like, oh my God, man, they... bow down. You guys fucking know your shit, like straight up.
Yeah, and
that
Cena's
dude,
still
Miz, you turned into a guy that everybody hated, and it was perfect. Like you couldn't hate somebody more than you hated that guy. He did a great job.
Yeah,
and yeah, he could probably do a commentary because he's a good talker.
Yeah,
and then Cena, like I said, he's just so over. He's huge.
Yeah, he's still the big face of the company.
And that's the shit. Like, and that's good for him. Like, I did not foresee that. I never looked and was like, John Cena is going to be the face of the fucking WWE.
Because when he first came out with that sort of like rapper kind of gimmick, you're like,
I mean. What? To me, I didn't mind the rapper gimmick per se. That I thought I saw him on the other shows. You know what I mean? Like making the wrestler show or something like that. I was like, it's going to be weird to see this guy. And then he slowly but surely, he knows everything. They all learn. They get their shit going, man.
Yeah, they evolved him nicely to where he was so like middle of the ground that... And he was able to just be over constantly.
And they didn't push him too far heel. They didn't push him too over, but now he's just exploded, man.
He's like the hero, the hero of the company.
He's like Hulk Hogan was when we were kids, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that was the dude, and there's little kids are wearing his shit like he's Hogan, so that's good for him, man. That's fucking awesome, right?
Right.
Keep it rolling.
Now, kind of getting back to the music. Okay, now you're, part of, Majik Ninja Entertainment. Twisted brought you over with that. How's that experience been thus far?
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's just like old times. We're back to just, it's always been like this. Just grind, on the grind, trying to work and build and get bigger and move. You know what I mean? Just steadily moving. forward and, not sitting and not moving backwards. And that's kind of what it is. It's like steadily moving forward. Even if you're grinding gears and you're going, but you're still going to move. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it is. It's like I've been having a great time because getting more exposure and, a lot more done. I've been wanting to put stuff together for years. Just been kind of waiting my turn, it seems like. And now, I've got my turn and I'm starting to push it out.
By now, you do have a pretty vast discography, but do you remember the time when you just kind of realized that you're finally getting comfortable in all this and that you could probably do this for a while?
I'm telling you, to me, I don't think it's ever really been fully like that since when they first told me, hey, man, quit working, quit jobs, don't work anymore. Because I've always been a person that's like, I need this every day. Every week I need this coming in because I got this going out, so I've always been like that. And so, I haven't worked a real job since then. You know what I mean? So it's been,
That's awesome.
It's awesome, and it is. It's like it's awesome sometimes, but sometimes like, man, I need something to do. I need to move. Like, fuck, man, I'm sitting around here too often. So yeah, but it's cool to be able to do this, but in the same aspect, I want to be able to do it, and it's never enough. It's like I still need to do more. I have more to do, and you know what I mean? That's what it is. More work to do.
When you're kind of feeling restless like that, what do you go do?
I used to be on video games all the time, and it's like I've been trying to cut myself back on that. And before that, I was smoking all the time, and it's like now it seems like I smoke more weed to calm myself down and settle down and just mellow it, go with the flow. It's like I've gone through spurts where it's this is where I'm just going to be sitting here writing and writing and writing, or this, now I'll play a video game for a couple hours, or I'll be watching a movie, or, it's books, it's multiple things. But yeah, it's like I'm trying to get it all into one. This is where you do this is where you do this is where you do that, schedule it off. And it's basically where it seems to be a little bit easier.
How long do you feel like it took before you felt like you were kind of comfortable and kind of solidified the whole Blaze Your Dead Homie kind of character persona?
To me, I don't think it is. Like, it's because it's ever evolving. It's always changing. So I'm never comfortable because this next record, I'm completely different. You'll look at me and be like, oh man, he's wearing a whole different paint scheme or scheme, however you want to say it. But it's like it's a whole different look, and it's trying to change. Like I said, trying to bring back to what it was, and in the same aspect, you know what I mean? Hints of back into the wicked shit. You know what I mean? And it goes back to that, Dwight Yankum, Kane, Blaze. You know what I mean? It's still me. It's just it's a new incarnation of me. And that's what I feel like each record I try to do better than the last one. And, you know what I mean? Just try to give them some. I want you to be able to hang a picture of my wall or a picture of me up on your wall and not be ashamed or embarrassed. It looks cool, or more importantly, you're scared. You know what I mean? One or the other. I don't care.
Going into this new album, The Casket Factory, what was kind of like your just mood going into this record? Like, where did you want to go with it?
Dark, more darker, explore more of, I guess, more the dark history of Blaze, or more, you know what I mean? Like I said, more Wicked-esque. It's like each record's been a little different. I think the first record was kind of just explaining who I am. The second record has been more a little bit on the hip-hop aspect. And then I kind of went a little bit Clockwork Gray, a little more timey. And then, you know what I mean? So it's like each one, gang rags, more gang, So it's like this one I try to, pump the brakes a little bit more on the gang stuff, bring it back down, corral it, and then, add some gang, add some Wicked to it. And, you know what I mean? Hopefully, I think what it is, from everybody that I've talked to around here, they're all like, that's a Juggalo record, hands down. And that's kind of what I was trying to go for. Just a straight, this is a Juggalo record. Like, as much as my first record was a Juggalo record, I feel like this is that.
through all your albums, especially the new one, like what do you think is the story being told? Like, what is the Blaze Your Dead Homie story that you're telling?
I'm a dead man that can't be killed, and now I got a Casket Factory, so I'll make boxes for people. And I'll put you in the ground if that's what you like, for a fee. No, for real. It's like each record. It's building on. It's building and trying to explore different parts of Blaze character, whatever they want to call it. Of myself. Just different. Exploring different pieces and different parts and where it can go. It's like there's so many different places I could take it, and I could have took it to space, but I didn't. I try to take it a little bit old school and still, remain true to what is wicked shit, what is Blaze.
And in creating this album, how, who's kind of, around during the whole writing and recording process?
For real, it's me, Madrox, and some candles. No, it's like, for real. It's like the two of us, mostly throughout all writing and stuff of that. Like production-wise, he produced most of the record with me, so it's like me and him, we sat throughout like 100% of this time. And beats, production by Seven, the Dead Beats, and Fritz, and so it's a little bit, like I said, it's mostly us. That's the process, kind of. It's like you start there, and then we go from there. This is what we got started, and we go back through it. This is what we got. Let's go from here and add or change or take out or.
Yeah, and speaking with Monoxide and Madrox, they told me that just even fairly recently, they found their own sort of level of creative confidence.
Oh, yeah.
How is it kind of being around them?
I'm still trying to get mine. For real. I am not lying. Like, I've told people that before. It's like, I'm confident, from day one. Like I told you, I was green when I walked around these guys. So, going in there with Violent J and Shaggy and Madrox and Monoxide, who I look up to, as like, these are my heroes. They're the dudes that I listened to before I was doing stuff. So it was kind of like, I'm in there as, how do I rate or how do I compare? I mean? That's kind of what it was the whole time. And now I'm just like trying to find my niche, and it's a lot like I have to hear it from other people, I guess, for it to. Because I'm still not overly confident about what I do. I'll come in after I'm done with it. Hey, does that sound good? Is that cool? Listen to that, make sure that's good, and then we'll go from there. And if you think I should change something, let me know. It's kind of what it is. So I still do that, and I think I'll always be doing that because I'm always going to question whether it could be better or whether I can be better.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to get, like I said, into a level where I'm confident that I can go in there and write and put on anybody's shit. I can write to anybody. I can write my own shit to anybody's shit. I can spit a verse on anybody's shit. Now, is it going to be, in my opinion, the best verse? Maybe not. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I'm always going to think that. I'm always going to be my worst critic, and I always will. I think I will for, forever. And there's stuff till this day that I'm like, why did I say that? Why didn't I change that? That don't sound right. For real.
You're about to go on a headlining tour soon.
Yes, sir.
What's kind of like a Blaze Your Dead Homie tour going to be like for the Casket Factory?
Man, it's going to be different because we're changing it up. I like to change up, and I'm coming out. It's been a minute since I've been doing this, but I'm going out with a full suit. Probably try to do something different for stage wise as well. Add a little more theatrics in there, maybe some set pieces, and go out there and have fun. I'm trying to, energy is what you expect, because that's what I'm trying to push off there. If you give me some out in the crowd, I'm gonna try to return that times 10, and we'll go like that. That's how we do it.
What are you thinking about next after all of this?
I'm working on something new just for this. Like today, I'm dropping some shit for my homie's record, but then after that, I'm working on some new shit for this tour. to bring out there for some new stuff for you to listen to. And then I'm working on the next project. I got a bunch of people that we're trying to do some collabo stuff with some folks, and on top of that, just keep moving on to the next album. For real. Like not next album like, hey, push this one, shelf it, it's over with. It's like, but yeah, I got some stuff that I got to start, in the can, ready for the next one, because it's going to be coming up shortly.
Right.
Faster than this one.
There's there's another artist that just added to the Majik Ninja label, Lex the Hexmaster.
Yes, sir.
Tell him, is there anything you can say about him? Not
He's
too much
shit.
known about him.
That's my dude. He's cool. That's my dude. He's off the hinges. Yeah, get along great with him. We've got a video dropping, I think Wednesday. Yeah, soon. So yeah, and we've been doing stuff together for a little while now. Yeah, he's cool. I don't know if anybody's ready for him, for real. He's got some new shit. I like it. It's interesting, and it's stuff that we haven't had here in this, in this underground community, in this, this family, in a long time. So it's cool to have,
Just nice energy, or like.
Yeah, it's just different, just something different. He's got that East Coast flow that's just, it's killer. It's cool. I like it. It says, I hope everybody likes it like I do. I think it's sweet.
Right. Who's like, growing up listening to like rap music or whatever, who are some of your favorites?
Oh man, I told you, anything like West Coast is really my favorite shit.
Yeah.
But I listen to a lot of stuff. Like I was listening to, like, people always ask, what's in your CD player? And I usually don't have anything, but this time I did. I was listening to Breed, some old ass Flint MC Breed, just bumping that. It's my shit, because I still, and I feel blessed that I got to do something with this guy on a track, before he died. Rest in peace, Breed. But yeah, it's like, man, yeah, it's crazy. It's like I like a lot of that. A lot of my favorites have ended up dying. It seems like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
Eazy-E dead, Tupac dead, Biggie dead, Breed dead. Like everybody dies. Yeah, no, I mean, I like a lot of different range of music though. So, when I first started listening to music, I could, die high. I mean, like the first rap music, like rapping Duke shit.
I got that record.
But it's not my favorite, but it's like for real. Like
Right.
that was the first shit I remember hearing, like that and Steps of Sonic and some weird shit that was just like, to me it was so brand new. You're like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's so different. Like,
Yeah, now you see how far it's coming. It's true what Biggie said, You never thought that hip hop would take it this far, for real.
Right.
Because it was from rapping Duke, da-ha, like, for real.
Right.
It's funny.
Yeah. All right, I think that's about it for.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for chatting with me.
Hey, that's what's up. Anytime, man.
I'm excited to hear the new record.
Man, it's the shit. I've been listening to it, and I've been going back listening to old stuff just to see, what the difference is. And it's just advance. It's an advancement, for real. It's an advancement on what was and what is and what can be, for real.
Right.
And I think a lot of it to do with my stuff now is production-wise, like is out the gate. It sounds a lot better. They, mastered, mixed by known people that are very well at what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, that's why. It's just, yeah, it's over the top. I'm hyped. I'm really hyped, yeah. Can't wait for it to drop. It's going to be the shit.
Awesome. So that was the interview with Blaze Your Dead Homie. It was cool to talk with him. Go pick up that new album, The Casket Factory, out this week. If you're around the Cleveland, Ohio area, this Thursday, January 14th, Blaze Your Dead Homie is going to be doing a free record release party at the Agora with special guest, the ROC. So, and if you get to the venue early at 6 p.m., there's a free meet and greet with Blaze Your Dead Homie. So he's hooking you up, man. So if you're in the Cleveland, Ohio area, go support Blaze Your Dead Homie. And also, my birthday's coming up on January 23rd. And I just confirmed AK Fresh birthday bash. It's going to be at Goodnight Gracie in Royal Oak over on 224 Sherman Drive. That's just right over there on that slanted road, right where the train station, the bus depot is there in Royal Oak. I'm going to be spinning with my boy Joshua Adams. He spins there every Saturday. It's going to be all vinyl, all old school dance and hip hop and funk and R&B, all vinyl. I'm going to drink some shots, going to drink some beer, drink some more shots, drink some more beer, raise some hell. So it's free cover, good people. Come celebrate my birthday with me. That's January 23rd. It's a Saturday, so most of y'all don't have to get up the next day. So come party with your boy. If you'd like to support the Fresh is the Word podcast, you can go to our website, which is freshasthepodcast.com. And there's a link at the top that says support the podcast. And on that page, there is a PayPal link that you can donate to. Or there is a Amazon link on there that you can use anytime that you want to purchase anything on Amazon. Use that link, and after you make your purchases, Amazon will shoot some commission back to me. I'll just go to help the show. Also, I definitely appreciate all the listens, and if you definitely want to share the links to the website, freshasthepodcast.com, or any of the links on SoundCloud, that's definitely appreciated and will definitely help support the podcast. You can also reach Fresh is the Word on the social medias at Instagram and Twitter at Fresh is the Word 1. That's Fresh is the Word number 1. And on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/Fresh is the Podcast and give us a like on that page. We're also on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, so go ahead and search Fresh is the Word on there and go ahead and subscribe to us. And it also would be very helpful if you go onto iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and throw some comments on there. Thanks for listening. See you soon.
Fresh is the word.